Tanzu was a way for us to take that next step in that evolution of untying people's hands, letting them contribute from inception of an idea to the production rollout of that solution.
Spring is an excellent choice for this mission-critical product. It is very stable and reliable. I mean, 20 years. Wow, 10 years Spring Boot, great.
Put the power at your fingertips so that you can release whatever you need whenever you need it.
Hi there, I'm Coté. Thanks so much for tuning into Tanzu Defined. We've been helping organizations like yours build and run their software for well over a decade. And today, you're going to hear all about what Tanzu is, what we do, and how we help our customers develop, operate, and optimize their software. So many enterprise apps rely on the Tanzu platform, the Spring framework, and our data technologies like RabbitMQ. 46% of all enterprise workloads use the Spring framework, which means that there's a good chance that one of the apps you use today runs on Tanzu. You just saw some highlights from people we've worked with over the years. We're proud of how we help people develop, operate, and optimize so much of the software that runs the world. Also, today, now that VMware Tanzu is part of the Broadcom family, we'll let you know how Tanzu has been evolving and improving. I think you'll appreciate what we're focusing on and how focused we are on it. All right, here's a quick look at our agenda. First, there's no better person than our general manager, Purnima Padmanabhan, to explain how the new Tanzu division fits into Broadcom's strategy. She'll go over how we are refining and continuing to innovate the Tanzu portfolio. Then you'll hear from me again, joined by Purnima, and our head of product strategy, James Waters. I want to find out what sets Tanzu apart, what makes us truly unique. And yeah, I know, you really want to hear about AI, so I'll make sure that we get into that as well. If you're like me, what you find especially valuable is hearing about the conversations Purnima and James are having with people at large organizations like yours. These conversations are all about what enterprises are actually facing when it comes to cloud and apps, both successes, struggles, and even better, the opportunities they're discovering. Well, let's get to it. Let's welcome Purnima to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Very excited to be here and talk to you more about what we are doing with Tanzu. As you know, when VMware got acquired, the Tanzu portfolio, which is all about accelerating modern applications for you, was formed as a separate division within Broadcom, and we continue to invest in this area. So what is Tanzu about? Ultimately, Tanzu is about helping customers accelerate their applications. And why does it matter? If you think about it, all companies today are software companies. The way business innovation happens is through delivery of software. And when you talk about software velocity, the difference between leaders and laggards is spectacular. Leaders release software 4,000 to 18,000 times a year, while laggards 1 to 4 times. So you can imagine the difference in the pace of innovation. So in search of this agility, many of our customers are investing in different technologies, open source, Kubernetes, public cloud. But accelerating is not easy because as you add these alphabet soup of technologies, how do you ultimately make it simple for a developer to build their applications and get it out to all the destinations? That's where we said we'll fundamentally look at the problem in a different way. Imagine if we could take all that complexity and integrate all the technologies together and give you a singular solution that understands the state of the application all the way from build to deploy to operate. And then took the key pieces of technologies and gave you a simple system that allowed you to develop applications at scale with curated templates and golden paths, operate these applications anywhere, any cloud, and change the infrastructure without impacting the application, and optimize them for cost, performance, and security on a continuous basis. That is what is Tanzu. Tanzu allows you to develop, operate, and optimize your applications at scale across VMs, Kubernetes, public cloud, as well as private clouds. Now, one of the unique differentiators of Tanzu Platform is that while we bring many tools and technologies, the tip of what a developer sees is a set of simple commands that lets them build the application and manage them across any environment. That simplicity is the power of Tanzu Platform. And especially when it is combined with the fact that it also allows the platform engineering teams to operate the platform very efficiently, be it stability, be it security, be it scale, be it performance, be it cost savings. Now, the best part about Tanzu Platform is we do support multiple languages, be it Java and Spring or .NET or Python. But at the heart of Tanzu Platform truly is Spring. When you build applications in Spring, we make it 10x better. Tanzu is the best place to land your Spring applications. And finally, Tanzu Platform is also uniquely tied into VMware Cloud Foundation, into the private cloud virtualization stack. Now, no application platform is an island, right? Applications need data services to make it meaningful. And that is where Tanzu data services come in that attach to Tanzu Platform, and be it caching, be it databases, data warehouses, or messaging, all those services can be easily augmented. And once an application is deployed, you have to manage the application. You have to secure it. You have to scale it. You have to make sure it's cost effective, and you have to make sure it's performant. So Tanzu Intelligence Services gives you the set of cost, performance, and security services needed to manage your applications for day two. Now, all these products are paired with Tanzu Labs that brings in the best-in-class thinking on how to modernize applications. Tanzu Labs is a set of professional services resources who know how to build apps, who have helped hundreds of companies build mission-critical apps. We have millions of apps today running on Tanzu Platform. Not merely packaged apps, but custom apps, mission-critical apps across various industries. We have thousands of Kubernetes environments under management. We've got billions of cloud spend under management. And we have got exabytes of data under management. We also continue to invest in our open source. Spring, by far, is the most popular Java framework, most popular framework to build enterprise apps, growing almost at 50% year over year. Bitnami is one of the best sources for getting open source packages, and RabbitMQ is still the #1 in OSS messaging. So what you're seeing us do here is not only invest in commercial software, but also help the community move much faster. So let me walk you through a scenario of how the platform makes it developer simple and operations efficient. Imagine a developer has to put something out, a new application has to be put out. They build their business logic, and then they simply give it to Tanzu. From there onwards, Tanzu takes on, builds a secure container with the right dependencies and CVEs. Then we would allow a developer to bind any external services, be it data services, public cloud services, AI, ML services into the application, and then deliver to the environment of choice, Kubernetes or VM, private or public. And once it's delivered, we automatically maintain the CVEs, maintain the monitoring, maintain the log rotation, maintain the credentials, all the boring stuff that often grinds operations to a halt is taken care of. And finally, as the application gets deployed, we constantly instrument, monitor, and measure so that it's always optimized. That is the Tanzu Unified Platform experience. Now that you've heard about what Tanzu is, let us get into a deeper discussion with James Waters and Coté.
Well, Purnima, James, it's really great to have you two here to discuss everything that's happening in the software world, because you two get the chance to talk with organizations a lot. I'm always curious about, in those large organizations, those places you go to talk, what are people talking about when it comes to software? What are they struggling with? What are they succeeding at? What are their concerns nowadays?
When I talk to CIOs and when I talk to CTOs, the biggest driver for them is, how can I get more app velocity? That is the most important thing. Era where, ChatGPT has disrupted industries in 2 months. There are market changes that happen in a matter of days. And then they say, hey, in order to get speed, how do I make a change? I have so many silos. I have so many technologies. How do I fundamentally transform my organization to deliver that speed?
One of the leading indicators that I see in high throughput organizations, you start to see more commonality between the different lines of businesses that are executing. If you observe an organization early on in kind of that consolidation phase, I think everything might be different. They might have a different pattern for, app project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, different ways of securing, different ways of bringing that to infrastructure. And what we've seen is that as you consolidate those patterns, you get a revolution in operational efficiency as well as developer throughput. And I think that's really the macro change that's happening at kind of this point in the pendulum of the market.
Speaking from a developer standpoint, it makes sense to have that simplicity. What does that look like from an operational standpoint? What is simplifying operational concerns and making them effective?
Developer choice and having more thought out, scalable solutions are not mutually exclusive. What do developers want? I want to use the language I want. I want to use the packages that I want. I want to deploy to the environments that I care about. I want to be able to choose the underlying technology patterns. None of those require a developer to actually go and instrument logging or go and actually build out the platform or set up the clusters, right? So I think one of the things that industry has to get it right is the separation very cleanly, which is how can you still give developers the power they need, but make it simple so that they don't have to learn everything about the underlying technology stack, but they get to make their choices. Imagine if a developer could make choices based on intent. I want HA, I want encryption, I want AWS, or I want to deploy on VCF on Kubernetes. Let them make all those choices. But the platform can still be stitched together in a way that it enforces the enterprise best practices and guidelines. It can still be stitched together in a way that it makes it very easy back to the operators who are operating the platform. That next time they want to go to a new geo, it is just a click of a button. When they want to make sure that when the latest CVEs come out, that the rotation of all the infrastructure happens, it's a click of a button. So how do they scale? How do they secure? How do they make sure that when something goes down, that it stays resilient, stable, right? And how do they make sure they have always the eye on the ball on savings or cost? That is the power that a true platform can offer to the operator, right?
Yeah, I mean, just a great example of something you mentioned is sometimes there's this handoff between the development teams and the operations teams, and this comes up with CVE management.
Yes.
Developer included something in their Docker file, the infrastructure team has now a year later been alerted about a CVE. How do you remediate that, and whose job is it? And that's a great conversation I've had with a lot of organizations. I say, this is a place where platforms can really help, because a platform can automatically build a container for you in a secure way, and it can automatically capture the metadata that's allowed you to query that as new CVEs come out and alert you that you need to patch that container and even generate a new clean build for you. So these kinds of new contracts that infrastructure teams can offer to developers, I think are one of the more compelling parts about platform engineering today.
And none of it took away the power from the developer.
None of it. They're still writing in the language they want. The containerization is transparent. They're able to bind to the data services they want. In fact, now they have a great catalog of data services pre-curated for them.
Also, when it comes to platforms, I think over the past 10 or so years, I think there's been this ongoing trying to figure out what's in public cloud and what's in private cloud, and if one of them is going away or one of them is contracting. It's that old balloon thing. It keeps going back and forth. And I wonder, again, with the customers that you talk with, the people in large organizations, where are we now with that?
One thing that I really appreciate about Tanzu is that we've been building in this hybrid approach for a long time. And so we actually have accounts where they have an excellent deployment of hundreds of thousands of containerized applications running on Tanzu, and they experiment with public cloud. And obviously public cloud's been a tremendous success. But some of these organizations are finding that the cost and efficiency that they already had on Tanzu, on their private VCF stack, was actually superior to what they got when they tried to integrate the entire catalog of public cloud. And because those patterns that we talked about are baked into Tanzu, and they didn't experience that out of the box in the public cloud. So we're seeing a lot of organizations that are, I wouldn't say going one direction or the other, but the trend I see is people benchmarking cost and efficiency of the private cloud stack versus a public cloud stack, and people are having a lot of thoughtful conversations about that. In some cases, growing their private cloud deployments because of the results they see.
VMware by Broadcom, and specifically VMware Cloud Foundation, is pretty much the only true private cloud solution at scale in the market. And Tanzu is the only solution that fully integrates into VCF and delivers that modern app stack for private cloud. So Tanzu works across all clouds, and it uniquely integrates with VCF to deliver that solution. When I talk to customers, what they want is a private cloud with the same set of services as public cloud, a private cloud that is more cost effective than public cloud, and a private cloud that doesn't trap their data, right? Where they can get the benefit of, especially with AI/ML now. I'm sitting on mountains of data in my data center, and I don't want to be moving them to just get benefit of AI.
So you brought up the mountains of data, the AI. What do you see as needed when it comes to a platform for AI?
A lot of conversation in the industry on AI is right now, as they call it, on the picks and shovels layer, right? What is the right GPU? What is the right infrastructure? How does that infrastructure serve up the right environment for AI? Where we are focusing with Tanzu is how do we make it very easy for developers to add AI to applications. So what we are doing is a few different things. One is we are investing in Spring framework itself with something called Spring AI that allows you to bring the power of these models, but with Java APIs. So if I'm a Java developer, right within my app, I can make calls to these right models and incorporate the right type of data and the right type of inferences into my application. The second thing that we are doing is within the Tanzu platform, we are bringing a set of modules that allow you to instantiate various machine learning and AI/ML models and manage them, but you can make late minding decisions on which model to use, when to use, where to use it, and do you use it from a public cloud source or do you use it from an on-prem source? So by combining these two pieces, we are helping truly insert AI into applications, right? Not just the infrastructure.
Yeah, I really like the way you capture that because, this last week, a model made a serious update and
Yes.
my friends were all talking about the results, looking at this dimension or that dimension. I thought, great, that's another option to bring to the Tanzu stack where we can bring that to all of these, millions and millions of existing applications that Spring developers are already familiar with and then start to incorporate that model right into it. In the same way that Spring really helped developers not get stuck between Oracle and Postgres in the past. I mean, I think it's worth highlighting Spring's
That's a great one.
tremendous history
Yes.
and abstracting across data structures. And I think AI is just a regeneration of that fundamental value of Spring of enabling a developer to work at that business level and then abstract a little of the lower lying, data structures. And I think that's why Spring continues to be so popular.
You also brought up Java quite a bit. That seems to be another thing that is still around in full force. Has that been y'all's experience?
And I think the network effects of Java have just given it a tremendous staying power. The idea that you can pick up Spring Boot, hire someone with that skill set, that person can be productive in so many different ways, integrate into a giant ecosystem. The Java communities continue to innovate in terms of its overall speed and efficiency of the core JVM platform. So it's one of those bets that just keeps winning over and over again against kind of like the idea of the moment. I think Java has been like a really enduring platform for enterprise value.
We will continue to invest in Spring and we'll continue to pour into the community there because we fundamentally believe the network effect that James was talking about, connect to different technologies and make choices. And it's all about, back to what we talked about, keeping that choice for developers.
I want to get back to the operations side of things. That was another thing I did. Coincidentally, that was fun. I used to work on systems management stuff. And I think thinking about the daily excitement of an operations person has an equal set of tedium that we can help
Yep.
with as developers. And I want to get a sense of like the kind of the strategy we're putting in place. What are we doing to make the operations person life easier?
So for the platform engineering team, the Tanzu platform is focused on bringing that singular experience. Whether it is a singular experience through API, CLI, or UI, doesn't matter. And what all does it entail? It means a platform that always has the data associated with your applications, all the way from when you build it, when you create a package for it, to when you deploy it, and then when you are ongoing basis updating it and moving it. Which means if you have a CVE in one of the packages, you immediately know where all is it deployed. That's the power of the platform. It also means that my operational constructs on my availability zones, my regions, my clusters, my namespaces, my environments are always maintained centrally and can be managed centrally by the operator. And it also means that the instrumentation of my environment, while it may be sitting in a best-of-breed tool, the actual alerting system, but how I instrument my environment for observability, performance, cost, security is all centralized. There'll always be something else that is, let us say, doing logging, or that is doing monitoring, or there is something else that might be doing data services. So you always want to connect in, but if you do this platform right, then you also give a single set of federation APIs that can federate into your ecosystem. So that is what truly we are bringing together as the Tanzu platform.
One of my favorite ways to see the impact operationally of a platform is to ask people to do kind of a vertical slice kind of approach.
That's a good
and say, hey, how often could you repave everything that you have in your platform? And the people that have adopted the Tanzu platform approach oftentimes can be 2 weeks or less for a complete repaving of everything that they have. And I think that's a really fresh test, both from a security hygiene perspective as well as just, as they say, any software that's not tested, you're not sure if it'll work. And so repaving continuously is one of those hygienic actions that operators can take with the Tanzu platform to ensure that level of operational simplicity is there. And it frankly drives like ratios of like a handful of operators to thousands of developers that organizations really trust.
If you try to do the same test without the platform, you're probably touching 40 consoles over 4 months to get it done, right?
Yeah.
So that's the power of unifying operations. Sometimes it's not about the one console, it's about that common set of federation, the consistent data platform, and the consistent set of APIs that's important.
Over my years in this area, I think one of the major things that comes up is build versus buy in the platform space, especially because there's a lot of options out there, most of them good. And with the different needs that organizations have, like, what are you seeing people do when they're deciding about building something on their own versus bringing in an integrated stack, if you will?
The market is very fragmented with a lot of little solutions. And in general, in a lot of customers, it all depends on the level of investment the customer has within their teams. If it's a high level of investment and high skill set, the general trend would be to build. They'd say, hey, look, I am a leader in the industry. I can put things together and let me get the best technologies. And often the designs are pretty nice. They are able to stitch it all together. That is not where the breakage happens. The breakage happens the minute you finish building. What happens in day 2? What happens when the projects change? What happens when the security issues change across these projects? What happens when the APIs don't connect across these projects? Now suddenly you have gotten into the business of building management software as opposed to building the software for whatever industry you are. And that is where we find two sets of customers. Customers who are early in the journey, building a platform with best-of-breed technologies, or customers who say, look, I built a platform with best-of-breed technologies, and now I'm failing, but I'll still like 2 or 3 pieces. Can I work with you to use your platform but still plug and play around the ecosystem? So that would be the category 2. And then category 3 is a customer that says that, look, it's not my business to build management software. I just want to go to a vendor who will help accelerate my application delivery and make it easy for my developers. So we see the full spectrum of customers.
You know, that spectrum really resonates with me. Just this week, I was chatting with the CTO in a major government organization, and his question to me was like, look, I'm looking for the value line in the software engineering that we do of where we should build differentiation versus where we should just take a platform. And he said, I really want to be thoughtful about that value line for my organization. Like in their case, it was like photo identification was a clear point of value that they wanted to build differentiated integrations into for their use case versus, you know, kind of day-to-day software automation and wiring of ingress and updating of CVEs was lower value to them. And he was really working with his organization to have a fresh conversation about, in the state of the market today, where is our value line? And I think that's an enduring kind of question that, you know, kind of smart technical leaders are asking their teams, and often leads them to, you know, strongly consider an integrated platform approach at some baseline that they can build on top of.
So James, you talk with customers a lot, as we've said. What are some of the biggest impacts that you've seen customers have from this way of thinking, having a platform in place so that they can just focus on their business, on the applications?
Some of the fun stories that you and I have shared over the years and been a part of, maybe one of my favorite ones is we chatted about a whole new line of business at an insurance company built in 45 days on the platform. So there's some organizations where they might have taken that long just to do architecture, security approval, like full infrastructure provisioning. Here, a team working in a continuous delivery model had scoped and delivered an MVP for a whole new line of insurance business using a platform in a way that really made delivering the app transparent to them. And it was really all about adding value at that business level. And they had never experienced a velocity like that before. And so it was really a revolution to see kind of this continuous product model on a platform approach and how it has impacted so many businesses. And that's just one outstanding example.
There's this phrase that always gets me a little riled up in our industry, which is like that technology's easy and people are hard. And I think both of them are very difficult. And I think, you know, in a lot of the platform discussion we've been having, I feel like there's an opportunity to have a platform in place that helps you drive the people change and the organization change.
I think you're hitting on a very important subject. Thinking about cultural transformation and technology transformation independently doesn't work. And like we've talked to so many customers, right, where they want to do cultural transformation. And so having methodology and right ways to think about app modernization, right way to think about requirements planning, right way to think about how does the development team and operations team interface and interact. Those are fundamental principles. And that's what we have built a ton of expertise with our labs practice. That said, choosing a platform and the right platform is also critical in driving cultural transformation. You could just do best of breed, a networking tool, a software tool, a CVE tool, and then you'll still be sitting in silos. Versus if you have the right platform, you force those teams to have a conversation, discuss what are my boundaries. So a platform can also drive cultural change if done right.
At the end of the day, like what really helps drive cultural transformation is also success, right? It's not just a top-down, let's be like X. Like we all need wins. And what I really see our platform with Tanzu providing to some organizations who adopt it is they get the wins that they need to grow that platform engineering approach. The developers in one case were deploying 3 times a year to the previous approach they had to infrastructure. And with the platform, it was suddenly 10 times a month. And that was really fundamentally not a very large, change other than changing that platform out. And that set of wins gave them more momentum to continue to push that acceleration, as Purnima has been talking about. So I think platforms can help start those wins and continue to, help fuel that transformation from there.
It's always nice to talk with people who are out there seeing what's actually happening and kind of get that practical view of how, what I'm always interested in is how people are getting better at software in their organization. So I appreciate that. So Purnima and James, thanks for going through that and talking about that with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was fun chatting.
That was good stuff, huh? I think we did a pretty good job of defining Tanzu. What I want you to see is that we're focused on the applications that run your organization and that run the world. I'm biased, of course, but I think good software is key to everything, from better business to better government, to the most important thing, a better everyday life. That's what we're focused on, helping you develop, operate, and optimize better software. All right, to wrap up. First, if you have any questions about what we've talked about today, we're easy to get a hold of. Go to tanzu.vmware.com. I hope you could tell that we're really interested in, passionate about transforming how the world builds software. We're eager to hear what you're up to and help you improve based on over a decade of helping organizations like yours. Second, we've set up a curated selection of some publications, videos, research, and conversations about everything we've talked about today. One thing in particular that I want you to check out is the Spring Health Assessment Report. This is a ridiculously simple but incredibly valuable tool that we've put together. Like I said earlier, if you're running real enterprise apps, chances are high that you're using the Spring framework. Chances are also high that you need to upgrade Spring. I've seen the usage numbers, and I have to say, there's a lot of you out there that need to upgrade it. There's a lot of cost savings, security, improvements, and excellent new functionality in Spring. The Spring Health Assessment Report is a free way to look over your Spring apps and find all that opportunity for you. You should send it to your developers and ask them to run it. It's an easy way to get started. Now, normally I'd ask for some applause to thank Purnima and James and everyone who put this together. But since we're online, it'll just be me saying thank you to everyone who worked on this event. See you next time, and good luck.